Hey guys, this is Hbkgrand from Dark Shinobis making a video about the Ember Prime's build. A lot of people during the stream times were asking me to share the build, so here it is. If you guys do not have an Ember Prime, do not worry about it. She's getting unvaulted alongside Frost and Loki on February 6, 2018. So moving on with the build, I just want to share the abilities of Ember first. So everybody has to look at the passive ability because those are like one of the most important aspects of a Warframe. So for the Ember, the passive ability is basically she regenerates energy and deals more damage if she is taking damage by fire. So just make sure if an enemy attacks you and it's like fire and you get a fire status on you, you could do more damage by casting your abilities. Now coming to the first ability of Ember, it's Fireball. It's kind of like pointing how you point your primary or secondary towards an enemy. So basically Fireball, you got to do the same thing, and you got to when you cast the ability, it's gonna shoot out a fire blast, and it's gonna be like a fireball, and you kind of like shoot the enemy with it. The second ability is the Accelerant. Accelerant is basically, it speeds up the process as the word suggests. So basically, once you cast the Accelerant, any ability that you're casting like World on Fire or Fire Blast, it speeds up the damage process. So it will do max amount of damage, whereas if you see the damage multiplier, it's somewhere above 4. So it will do a massive amount of damage. So this is really good for when you're camping or you're doing like some kind of survival or defense where all the enemies are coming towards you and stacking up. So it does help at that point. Then we have the third ability, which is the Fire Blast. Fire Blast creates like a ring of fire around you. It's not that big, but it is big enough that if enemies are coming close to you, it will create like a ring of fire, and anything that comes inside it will constantly take damage per second, depending on the power strength you have or whatnot. So if you have Accelerant plus Fire Blast active, that will do massive amount of damage if you have World on Fire active as well. So the fourth ability, so simultaneously you can use the second ability, the third ability, and the fourth ability, but that costs a lot of energy. So people usually just stick with the fourth ability, which is the World on Fire. So the World on Fire is basically you turning an ability which creates like whatever your range is, it's gonna like burn every single thing, any enemy that is coming into that range sphere. So that's what people want it for. But as you can see over here, I have like energy per second. If you focus your point over there on the bottom corner, it says 2.8. So I'm actually using 2.8 energy per second, which is not good because you constantly need energy for World on Fire, and you cannot drop energy paths while World on Fire is active. You can only gain energy by picking up energy. But this is a power build. I will show you guys the efficiency build after this, and then so that way like you guys know what the difference is. So this power build is basically to show that we are like literally we want to get everything killed. So that's why the strength and everything will be high on this one. So I will share this build and then I will tell you like why this is, but we're gonna focus on the other builds first. So you can use all three simultaneously, but it will take a lot of energy out of it. So I would just stick with World on Fire because you want to just get the job done quickly. Now moving on with the upgrades, I will show you guys the build. So I have three types of builds: the efficiency plus range, which I'm going to show right now. The one abilities, the points that I was discussing, that was the power build, which is the second configuration. And then I will show you guys the power plus efficiency. So there's not a lot of difference between the configuration B and C, the power build and the power efficiency, but there's a lot of difference between the first one. So I'll start with the growing power. Now growing power is a really important mod to have. So there are only two polarities that you could put up there, is either steel charge, but that gives you melee damage. We don't want that. Growing power, when you're using your weapon and you create a status effect on any enemies or whatnot, you gain 25% power strength for 6 seconds. So if you add that to the 165% that you see over there, it's gonna increase this and take it to like 190%. So it is really important to have growing power. You can get this by doing the Titania's quest. Once you have done it, the Silver Grove, you can go kill the Spectre, and you can get this from killing the Spectre. Or you could buy it from people. The going price for growing power these days is going for like 30 to 50 platinum, or maybe cheap, but it is really easy to get now. So it is a really strong mod to have. Next up is the Power Drift mod. Power Drift gives you plus 15% ability strength, and then 30% of getting a resistance to knockdown. You can get this from the Lua Challenge Room, whereas this Power Drift is actually added into that 165. So accumulatively it is already included, so it is not like something, a variable strength mod. So it is a really must-have one because it creates the chance to resist, which is important because you always get knocked down by higher level enemies. Now, we don't need prime continuity or continuity here, but I just put it there just for a little durations because I got the efficiency, so I do use those 3 abilities that I was discussing from time to time. So since this is a heavy efficiency build, I cannot kind of use it, so that's why I put prime continuity there. You can get this from the Hbkgrand or from people for like 30 to 40 plat. You need 1,000,000 credits for it though. So next up we got the Fleeting Expertise. It is like a dual stats mod, but we're looking for efficiency here. So you can get this from the Derelict missions using the Dragon Keys. This is called like the Corrupt mods, and basically Fleeting Expertise gives you plus 60% efficiency, whereas it decreases your duration by 60%. But since this is an efficiency build, that's what we were looking for, and kind of prime continuity kind of makes up for that. Next up is Stretch, which gives us like ability in a range, which we were looking for in this one as well, and you can get this from basically any like dark sector mission, so it's not a problem to get that. The other one is Streamline. You can get this from the Dark Sector mission, the Void and whatnot. This gives you plus 30% in the efficiency, so that's what we were looking for because this is an efficiency build as well. Prime Flow, similarly to Prime Continuity, you can get it from the Hbkgrand, or you could buy it from people for 30 to 40 platinum or somewhere around there. It gives you a lot of energy. So, but you could use a regular flow here as well, but you don't really necessarily need prime flow, whereas the energy conversion is a really important mod to have for any warframe that requires ability strength. Why? Because it gives you 50% energy for any energy that you pick up, like for killing enemies or collecting from loot box. So it is really important to have that. So how does this affect the ability strength of Ember? Having 165% ability strength currently in this build, you pick up an energy, it will add the 50% in there, so you'll have like a 215%. So, and do not forget about the growing power. You could get about 25% of ability strength in for 6 seconds as well. So adding that 75% to that 165, you're looking about 240% in ability strength, which is a lot of damage if you look at it that way. So an energy conversion, you can get it from Cephalon Chimeras for about like 100,000 syndicate points for scanning targets, or you could get it from people who who have done those, and you can get this for like about 15 to 30 platinum. So that's the going price. And this mod is actually really useful for any other warframe that requires power strength, so like any abilities that will kill enemies using the power strength abilities. So it is a really important mod to have. So apart from this, the Transient Fortitude, this gives you, it is their Derelict mod as well, so you gotta go with the Dragon Keys. It's also a corrupt mod with dual stats, so it increases the ability strength and reduces the duration, so it is kind of like the same thing as the Fleeting Expertise as well. Now lastly, we have basically Vitality. Now you could switch between Vitality, or you could put Redirection depending on who the enemy is, or you could put Vigor here. But what I choose to do is, like, if I'm going against Infested or Greniers, I would just put Vitality there because they primarily focus on killing your health. Whereas if I'm going against Corpus, I would just put Redirection there because they're going to be focusing on primarily killing the shields first. So you could switch between them or put Vigor there, that's completely up to you, but that's like, this gets the job done for me. So for the efficiency plus range build that I just showed you guys, I'll ask you guys to focus on the World on Fire ability, where you see the energy per second, it is actually 0.75. So it is only using 0.75 energy per second, which is kind of like amazing, because like you are basically using less than 1 energy per second, and it's kind of like feels like you're not using energy at all. And since when you're killing enemies and constantly picking up energy, it basically never runs out. So that's why like that intrigued a lot of people in the stream as well. So I just want you to guys see that, like, since the ability cast is only requiring 13 energy, and similarly with Accelerant and Fire Blast, the second and third ability as well. So remember that we do have energy conversion plus the growing power, so that's about 75% of power strength that is not being shown here. So when you do pick up energy, this goes 75% plus. So you have about 240% of damage over here. So that's a lot of damage that you do not see here, but it adds up. And you can actually use all 3 of these abilities because you have high efficiency, and you could do insane amount of damage using all 3 of them, not just the World on Fire. So just focus on that one, because that was a really important one. So the next build that we're going to go is like a little bit of difference in mods, not a lot. So I'm not going to repeat all the other ones. If you do want to know, like if you do forget like which was I was talking about, you can go back and check that out. So this one is the power build. And in this power build, basically I got the growing power going on, which is the same thing that I discussed about getting 25%. And you'll see like a little bit of stuff there that I don't have. Now here we have the Cunning Drift. The Cunning Drift gives you ability range and stuff. So like this is another mod that you get from the Luas. All the drift mods you get from the Lua challenge room. So I'll try to make a video for the Lua challenge room, so that way like we have a little bit of a chance to like show you guys like some tips or some tricks or how to do them. So it does give you, the Cunning Drift is a really important mod to have, because it gives you slide, it gives you range, and it gives you like a little bit less to friction. Then we got the Transient Fortitude, same with that, strength and duration. Then we got the Power Dash, then we got the Stretch, then we got the Streamline, then we got the Prime Flow, the energy conversion again, which is important for that 50%. Now if you look over there, we got like 190%, so if you add that 50% and that 25% from the Power Drift, we have about 270% power strength after gaining these 2 variable amounts. So it is kind of like a really important, it feels like awesome to have like some kind of like ability like that, which you have to turn on even after your ability has been turned on. So if that makes sense. So then we have the Intensify, which is included in that 190%, which gives you about 30% strength. And then you can use Blind Rage, but I do not recommend it because you get negative efficiency using it. So if you want to use Blind Rage, you gotta use like a level 7 or 8 for it. Otherwise, don't use it. And then we have Redirection. Redirection, like I said in the previous efficiency plus range build, you could do that same thing over here as well. You could have it by using Vitality if you're going against Grenier or Infested, or you could use it if you're going against the Corpus. So, or you could use the Vigor, whichever one you like. So you could switch around whatever you like. You can make it as it is. So, but just make sure that you don't really need to worry about like, oh, I need to put another power strength mod here. I don't need to put Redirection. Survivability is the key as well. So you do need health or shield, whichever enemy that you're facing. So always remember to have health or shield on your Warframe, because those are more important than having more power strength or something. Have less strength, but at least have enough to survive. For this one, if you want to focus on the World on Fire or on the energy cast, you'll see I need like 35 energy to cast the World on Fire, and it takes about 2.8 energy per second. Since this is a power build doing about 270% damage before we were doing 240, so there's a 30% increase over there. So you could see that we are doing a lot of that. Now the third build is power plus efficiency. So a little bit difference between this one and the power build is that we reduced the range, and we kind of gave this one a little bit of speed plus armor. So we use the growing power as it is. Again, you gotta know, like, you get the status effect on the enemies, and then you get like the 25% ability in strength for like 6 seconds. Whereas we have 180% on this one, so adding the 75% from the energy conversion and the growing power, basically this one, this build actually takes you to 255-ish percentage for the ability and strength. So it's kind of like a still powerful build. Whereas the Cunning Drift, again from the Lua challenge room for the range purposes. Then we got the Intensify for the ability and strength. This is where I'm using Vigor. You can switch between redirection or health, vitality basically, but I've just used Vigor because of the capacity point. I don't want to put another forma in there. It's not needed because this gets the job done as well. But if you want to, you can use those two. Then we got the Fleeting Expertise, the same as before, Efficiency plus, and then Negative Duration. Then we got the Streamline, we got the Flow. Basically Flow, you could use the regular one or the Prime one, it's up to you. There is no, sadly, Prime Streamline, otherwise it would have been awesome. But you can use a Prime Flow, but then if you want to use it for this specific build, you would need to put another forma. Then we got the Energy Conversion, same as giving us 50% power strength of picking up energy. Then we got the Transient Fortitude for a plus ability strength and negative duration. And then I'm using Armored Agility. Why I'm using Armored Agility over here is this can actually complement with Vigor, because since we have less health and shield, we can actually use Armored Agility's effect, giving us a little bit more armor. So that's kind of like increasing your resistance to taking a lot of damage. This also adds up to like giving you speed as well, because the Armored Agility does give you plus 15% speed. So since this is like a power efficiency build, and I am trying to aim for like killing the enemies quick enough and running to the end of the mission, so like the Armored Agility does help complement us in two ways, giving us speed and armor, which kind of complements with Vigor. So if you do not want to put redirection there, Armored Agility can give you like plus 45% armor, kind of like giving you a plus 45% health or shield in a way. But armor does take a lot of resistance from taking any amount of damage, especially from against like Grenier or Infested, because they do attack your armor alongside with your health. So these mods can complement each other, but if you guys think you want to put like Steel Fiber there, that's completely up to you, or some other mod that you think that you should be putting up there, like that. It's kind of like you could change anything you want, but like this is like a really good build that I have. So I'll show you the ability if you want to focus on the World on Fire again. Now, since the ability cast is low on this one, so like when you cast it, it only requires 13. The second ability, third ability, and the fourth ability actually come into effect, and we can actually use those three abilities simultaneously again with this power plus efficiency build. So, and adding that 75%, we do not see the 75% addition or the variable for these abilities that you see the points over here. However, the efficiency part we do lack because of some mods that we have put up there. So now I'll show you guys like the efficiency plus range build. I'll go into like a mission. I'll just like put a time bender on it so like we can finish the mission really fast. Whereas like I picked like an experiment mission. I usually do like all the way up to like mid, even high level bounties. I do it with this build usually because it's constantly giving me energy, so I constantly can do like maximum amount of effect. So I did speed up the clip over here so that like we could finish the thing fast, but as you will be able to see that I have not used any energy pads at all during the entire mission that we were in here. I started at 75 and I just went with it, and I just keep picking up energy. And on the top right corner where you see my health and then health and shield, you'll see there's like I see the growing power. It looks like a fire symbol, and then the one that looks like a bracket and then there's a minus in there, that's what the energy conversion is. So basically now you do not even need to recast your ability in order for energy conversion to get equipped. So as I was mentioning about the diamond rotating, a lot of people have asked me this question. It's only because they do not own these two mods. So basically, once you have these two mods, the energy conversion and the growing power, you'll start to like see this diamond glow around you, and each time you do more damage, it starts to increase as well. So it kind of is like helpful, and basically you can finish most of the missions, like majority of the missions. Like if you want to just run through them, you can finish it using this method. So the power efficiency, in my opinion, is one of the best builds that I could say there is for Ember, because that has the best output. Plus, if you want to use your weapons, you could do it as well. Now, we're going to try to use the power build that I was talking about. Now here we'll be using about 2.8 energy per second. So I'm going to do like a quick 5-wave Akkad. And if you want to timer it, like you can do this build when you have the exact build, or if you want to add a little bit more strength to it, or whatever you like. You can go into this mission, Akkad mission. If you have like a good team, that would be awesome. But if not, even without that, you could finish this mission with a power build with I think like less than 4 minutes. So a lot of people ask me like, what's the best way for credits? Like, it's not index because you could time it. Like a minimum index requires about 7 minutes because of the timer it has. Like you will end up like in around 400 to 500 seconds, somewhere there is the average for an index to end, which is somewhere close to 7 minutes. Whereas these missions, you can go in 5 minutes and then get it done. Whereas the other ones, they could take long. You could even fail the mission if somebody's not doing it right. If you go with random players, it can mess it up as well. Whereas this one guarantees you about, if you have the credit booster, however, so you can get about 50,000 credits minimum from this mission alone, just doing 5 waves of Akkad and then extracting. Also, if you want to level up, I will make a guide about how to level up your mastery ranks and XP, how to gain a lot of XP fast. But this method can be used, like you could go 5 waves in, extract, and you can make a lot of credits. Plus, you can kill the enemies and get a lot of XP as well at the same time. So by the time you're done leveled up your XP, you will have like close to like 1 million credits or something, because that's like how I usually level up my stuff as well. And I usually take this build like in higher level missions where I do have to drop a lot of energy pads in the beginning, or sometimes after I run out of energy, but still it is really strong because you get about like 270% ability strength. So I hope you guys like this video. If you guys have any questions, any comments, you can leave it in the comment section below. Apart from that, I do stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so you could do live Q&As, and I do take up, like, if you guys want like a certain specific build, I try to give time to everybody, so we do have a lineup, so I'm trying to get them done. So I hope you guys like this video. If there's anything, you guys can always leave a message on the YouTube in the comment section. So this is Hbkgrand from Dark Shinobi signing out. Have a great one, guys. Take it easy.